Okay, in this video we will draw part 2 and probably part 5. I don't know if we'll have time for the wheel, so we're going to draw the bracket first. Okay, bracket's a bit of an interesting part. I'm going to start by drawing like this face right here and then extruding it out in that direction. So I see it's 60 from the top to, looks like the center of this circle. Then it's 44 across. And then that doesn't come straight down, it comes at an angle and looks like it goes tangent to that circle over here, which is a radius of 10. Okay, so I'm going to do a new part, standard. And I see a circle with a radius of 10, which means a diameter of 20. And then from here, that side, it goes up, what did I say, 60? Up 60. Over 44. And then it goes down to the tangent. So I'm just going to draw it like this and hit escape. And then I'm going to add the tangent constraint. So I'm going to hit tangent, 0.1, 0.2, boom. Then I will trim out the parts I don't want. U and U are gone. That right here is just part of the dimension. It's not actual there. And I guess that's it, right? I guess I could add that hole right now, or I could add the hole later. I'll do the hole later just to show you. And I'm going to hit finish sketch. And I'm going to extrude that. Now here's actually where it gets a little tricky, because when I do the extrusion, how much would I go? Look at it for a second. What would you say I extrude it by? If you said 30, you're wrong. Why? Look what 30 is. 30 is the gap in between. But from the outside face to outside face, it's more than 30. How much more? Well, it doesn't directly say. It actually only indirectly tells me. So over here, it says that it's 13 GA, which is gauge, and then 2.38. That is actually the uniform thickness. 2.38 is the uniform thickness of this part. So if I go from outside face to outside face, that distance is going to be 30 plus 2.38 here and 2.38 there. What does that equal? I don't know, but I'll have Inventor do the math for me. So I'm going to extrude it, and I'm going to tell it 30 plus 2 times 2.38. Let them do the math. I don't want to do the math. Okay. Looking pretty good. I'm going to kind of change the home view to be a little bit more like what we see over here. So I'm going to do that as my home view. All right. So now what? Now I could do the hole on top and the bottom and add some fillets. Okay, let's first now kind of create the overall shape. Now I'm going to kind of carve out this part to have that gap in the middle, and I'm going to do that by one of two ways. You could do a new sketch over here and then extrude it out, or you can use the shell command. The shell command will give this part a uniform thickness, which is what we want. I'm going to hit shell, and I'm going to tell thickness is that 2.38 number. And then I'm going to choose the face that I want to cut it out of, which is right here, and then I'm going to hit OK. Now it looks a lot closer to where it should be. Let's add some fillets. So we see that the inside fillet right here is 3. So I'm going to go kind of look underneath it and say the fillet has a radius of 3. And that should add material. So what does that make the fillet over here supposed to be? Well, you might say, well, it's probably also 3, right? But if we click that and we zoom in, well, that doesn't quite look right. We want this to be a uniform thickness across. It is definitely thicker over there, so that's not right. The radius for that, of that fillet, would actually be 3 plus the thickness, which is 2.38. So that would be what, 5.38? Or you can do 2 plus or 3 plus 2.38. And that's kind of how like even roads work. If a road had a radius of 15 and it was a 10-foot wide road, then the outside radius would be 25. You add the thickness to the inside radius to get the outside radius. So right here is going to be 3 plus 2.38. And I'm going to click right here. And we're going to do that for both sides. And I'm going to hit OK. And now when I look straight at that looks better. All right, hit the home view. And what next? Let's do a whole circle right in the middle, which is 15 from the inside edge. So it's exactly halfway between both of them. So I'm going to do a whole. For me, it's linear. For you, I think you just click the face. And then reference 1 from right here is 22. That's the easy one. Let's see where we can click to get the... Can I just... Yeah, right here would be the line, right? Because it'd be the inside face. And that would be 15. Let's look directly at the top. Does that look like it's centered to you? Believe so. And the diameter is, I forget, 14.5. 0.5. I'm going to hit apply because I'm going to do the second hole as well. And we're going to do a concentric. For you, you don't have to click this. It automatically will assume it. The plane is this plane, concentric to this right here, and it's going to go through all, and that has a diameter of, drumroll, 8. Okay. So let's look at that. Looks pretty good. All right, so what's left? I think we just have that little notch right there. So we have to create that little notch, and I think we got to do a new sketch. So I'm going to do a new sketch right on there. Hit F7 to see what I'm looking at. And I'm going to draw a rectangle. And I'm trying to think of what the best type of rectangle to draw is. I guess I can just draw any kind, right? And then it's 2.5 wide at the top, and then from the middle of the circle to the top is 6. Okay, so then the distance from here to here is 6, and then from, can I click the middle? Maybe I gotta draw a line in the middle first. And then dimension it from that distance should be 0. And then this distance should be 2.5. Did that work? Sweet. I didn't know if that was going to work. So then I'll delete that middle line now. And that's not probably the best way of doing it, but that seemed to have gotten the job done. And I will extrude it in the other direction and make sure I have the boolean to cut. Now we're looking beautiful. And I will also make this steel. I'll just change the color. And this is part 2, the bracket. So I'll make it steel. Probably try and keep the same type of steel. I don't really care the color. Make it look pretty. And let's go to eye properties, go to project, part number, in all caps, part 2, description. What was it, bracket? I have awful short-term memory. Yes. And we are done. File, save as, and that one is the bracket. Okay. The next part is really easy, so I'm going to start another part. And this one is the bushing, which is just a cylinder with a hole in the middle. Inside diameter is 8, outside diameter 14, and it is extruded 28. So watch how easy this is. 8, 14, extruded 28. Material is brass. What does the other one look like? I guess it looks mildly better. Eye properties. What did I say? Part 5 this was. And then the description was bushing. Let me just double check that. Part 5 and bushing. File, save as, bushing. Okay, we are done with that part, and we'll call that for this video. In the next one, we will do the wheel, and then we will assemble it.